Well, the weather's cooled down a bit, so I took a chance and went out after a few rabbits. First port of call is this corner of the wall here, where I can keek around and see if there's any rabbits out along the edge of the field here. But most of them are quite far away, the closest of which is that one about 70 yards away. Now, I usually use holdover when I'm allowing for different ranges, but I've recently been experimenting with using the BDC turret, or bullet drop compensating turret, on the scope, and I know how many clicks I need for 70 yards. And took the rabbit dead on with a headshot. I don't usually shoot rabbits at this sort of range, but it definitely seems to work. Of course, one thing you do need to remember to do is always reset your turret back to 0 again. I have a look down the field adjoining to this, and I see another rabbit about, but he's a good 90 yards or more away, but I might be able to get to him if I go through the garden. There's nothing in the garden at the minute, the grass has been recently cut, but at the corner of the field at the bottom of the garden I can see a couple of rabbits. Now, the last time I was here I decided these rabbits were a wee bit too young, but that was quite a few weeks ago, and they're a nice size now for taking with the air rifle. So, since the rabbits are used to seeing people dandering about the lawn, I decided to walk straight down into the rough at the bottom of the lawn that's usually grazed by the cattle to get within range. I get within about 65 yards of the first rabbit. Set the sticks up into kneeling position, and again adjust the BDC turret to the amount of clicks I need for this range. Aim dead on at the rabbit's head and take the shot. Only thing is, I hit the barbed wire fence dead in the middle, but the rabbit, believe it or not, is still sitting there. So, not wanting to hit the fence again, I quickly get down into a lower sitting position with the sticks. It gives me a much clearer line through the fence, and I take the rabbit cleanly. Again, I readjust the elevation turret on the scope back to 0. This is one of the reasons why I usually just liked using holdover, because if you adjust the scope up and down and forget about it, the next time you go to take a shot, you could overcompensate for the range and put the shot well over its head. It's a nice 3/4 grown rabbit, and the pellet looks as if it's hit it right in the back of the head. So I'll push him into the game bag and dander off to see what else I can find. Now, the rabbit I was after originally around the corner had obviously cleared off by now, so I headed down to the lower fields to see if I could find anything. And sure enough, the next field down there was a couple of rabbits out, but there's a small stream between me and them, and 2 lengths of sheep wire, as well as a lot of tall rushes and other weeds, but I use the tall weeds to my advantage, getting low enough to get a clump of weeds between me and the rabbit and stalk in closer. Once I think I'm within range, I set the shooting sticks up and again get into a nice kneeling position. The rabbit's tucked down in behind a tall tussock of grass, which has helped me manage to get within this sort of range without it seeing me. The rangefinder tells me I'm almost 55 yards, so again I set the turret on the scope to the sort of range I need, 55 yards. I give the rabbit a wee squeak to try and get its head up out of the long grass, and when it's just about clear enough I take the shot. Knocking it down cleanly. The reticle in the scope I'm using is a mil-dot type, and I never really liked it for allowing for holdover, because at the magnification I usually shoot at, which is 6 power, I could fit from 1 to 70 yards inside the crosshairs to the first dot. So maybe adjusting the elevation turret for each shot is a better way to go. Well, that's the third one in the bag. We'll march on up towards the van. Heading up the field now, the light's got quite low. It's not easy to see much unless it moves in front of you. But I seen something move along the side of the hedge and I stopped dead. The camera can hardly see it, but believe it or not, there's a rabbit there just sitting on the edge of the bank. I get down into a kneeling position again, using my shooting sticks to steady the rifle. Take careful aim at the rabbit's head. He's only about 40 yards away. And drop him over the bank. Setting the rifle and the game bag down, I hop over the fence to retrieve the rabbit, which thankfully only is a couple of feet down the other side of the bank. I give its belly a squeeze to empty its bladder, and then pick up the rabbit I shot at the start of the night. Once I have everything into the bag and all my stuff gathered up, I head off up the hill back to the van and call it a night. Well, I've got 4 rabbits in the bag, and sure enough you can teach an old boy new tricks.